welcome to another Generative Components tutorial. Today we're going to take a look at ChatGPT and how we might be able to use this language model to help us write our own functions. So let's get started. Here we are on the ChatGPT site. For this demonstration, I'm going to be utilizing the paid version of ChatGPT, which is GPT-4. Let's start by asking ChatGPT what it knows about generative components. I'm going to type in, "Can you tell me some information about generative components?" And the response is quite good. ChatGPT knows that generative components was developed by Bentley Systems and goes on to describe some key points about generative components. So let's take this a little deeper and ask Chat, could you write a function that would create a point using generative component? The response identified some code and labeled the code box with GC script. The response goes on to indicate that this code could be used as an input for a function. So let's give that a try. I'll copy the code and then switch over to generative components. So let's drag in a point node and change its method to by function. Clicking on the square to open the editor, let's paste in the code that ChatGPT gave us. Clicking on apply, we receive an error message. So let's take a look at the errors and see what we need to do to get this working. We can try by removing the first PT1 colon, as the scripting language may not like this, but that change didn't help. So let's try fixing the function. We can add a definition like myPoint, and we'll add the term new as we'd like to create a new point. We also probably need the word function and a return so the system knows what we want to return. And after we add all these things, we still get an error, not in the script window, but on the node itself. And with a bit more playing around, we have to add a coordinate system, and we've managed to get the function to work. So overall, not that useful for a beginner who's trying to use GC script and didn't know how to implement this code. The original response from ChatGPT did identify this issue, just letting us know that GC is a fairly complex and powerful scripting language, and it could take some time to become proficient with it. So let's see if we can speed up that process with the help of ChatGPT. Let's help ChatGPT understand a bit more about generative components and GC script. So I've copied some of the information from the help files and some general information about functions into a text prompt, and I'll leave a link to this prompt in the description below in case you'd like to test this out as well. I'll copy and paste this prompt and see what ChatGPT thinks about this new information. And it is very polite and thanks us for this new information and creates a new GC script example. So let's copy that and give it a try. This time I'm going to drag a function call node in and create a custom function. We can replace all the information in the editor with the ChatGPT code it provided. The code appears to be asking for 2 point inputs, and it will extract the XYZ values, and using a formula, it'll return a distance value. Clicking on apply, all seems good with the function so far. So let's create another point as an input and link up point 1 and point 2 to the point 1, point 2 inputs on the function call node. But we end up with an error. The error tip, however, is very helpful and lets us know it doesn't understand the term square root. So let's have a look at the script again. So for this example, I'm not interested really in the exact formula. So let's remove the square root and see if the script is working without it. So clicking apply, we can see it works. So let's look at adding that square root back in. And to make it simple, I could define another double called distance2 and then just use the square root of the distance 1. And once I put in the correct semicolon and clicked apply, it all works fine. So this time, I think we got 90% of the way with ChatGPT. So heading back over to ChatGPT, let's try to create a new function that is a little more complex. And let's ask it this. Using all the information in this chat, could you write a function to generate a random point between x is greater than 0, but x is less than 1000, y is greater than 0, y is less than 1000, and z equals 0? The ChatGPT response looks good, and it is given a description of how it works. Let's copy this script and head over to GC. I'll drag a point node in and set its method to by function, and open up the editor and paste in the script we have from ChatGPT. Clicking on apply, we receive an error on the node, and hovering over the node, it provides a hint at the error, and it's related to the random double. In GC script, it is just random, not random double. So let's make that change and click apply, and a new point has been created. So let's head back to ChatGPT and give it an update. And that's right, in GC, there is no random double. It just uses the word random. ChatGPT is very nice and apologizes for the error and updates the code for us. And this time, it has not only changed the word, random double, it has updated the code around this and also provided an explanation below. So let's copy the new code and head back over to GC, creating a new point node by function and pasting in the code again. And this time it all works perfectly. So the first fully successful function written by ChatGPT. We can utilize these points and create a simple line between the points. So now we have a working function. Let's ask ChatGPT to create 20 random points. We can type in, using the function above, could you create 20 random points in the given range? ChatGPT lets us know that this could be done using a loop and provided a GC script and a description of how it works. So let's copy the script and head back over to GC. Creating a new point node by function, we can paste in the GC script and click apply. We can see instantly 20 random points are generated. So far, things have been interesting, but let's try one more function that takes some inputs from GC and generates a result. So let's ask, using the information in this chat, could you write a function to find the point that is closest to another point? Well, that is what I meant to type, but as you can see, I forgot the word closest. But ChatGPT actually gave me two code examples. One to find the distance between 2 points, and the other to find the nearest point from a list of points, which is actually what I was after. Heading back to GC, let's drag a point onto the line we created earlier, which will give us a new point by parameter along curve. Let's arrange those a bit and then drag in a function call node and create a custom function and paste in our GC script from ChatGPT. We can see the inputs are for a point called refPoint and a list of points called pointList. There is one line, however, that might cause an error, and this is related to the double dot positive infinity. So this line is setting up a distance value that is larger than the extent of all of our points, so then it can loop through and find the distance of each point, comparing it to this value. So looking at the code, I think this is really a starting point for a value. So as long as this is larger than the max distance for all our points, I think it'll be fine. So for each loop, it runs through and updates this value with the point it's currently checking. So for now, I'm just going to type in 100,000. Now we can click apply and then link up the 0.6 to our ref point and 0.5, which is our list of points, to the point list input. The result is 0.5 in square brackets 15, which is the point from the list of points which is closest to our 0.6. And to show this a bit easier, let's drag in a line node and set its start point to 0.6 and its end point to the function call to node. Now we can easily see which is the closest point. And if we drag the point along the line, the function is always updating, looking for the closest point, which changes along the line. This has been a simple example of how you might use ChatGPT to aid your GC workflows, but there's so much more. I've been using ChatGPT with GC for only a few months, but even as an experienced user, the ability to have ChatGPT to write long loops and if statements is a huge time saver. And ChatGPT can also optimize your code in ways you may not have realized. If you'd like to see some more ChatGPT content, make sure you leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.